Hello and welcome to another video of Alpha PT. This is Fatima. Hope you all are doing well and hope your preparation is going on well. So today's video is all about summarize spoken text. So I've received this request from a lot of you that you want me to solve summarize spoken text according to the changes after 7th of August. So I thought, why not? Let's solve summarize spoken text according to the changes from 7th of August onwards and using the audio that I had in my exam, in my actual PT exam. So today's summary is the summary that I had written in my exam using the audio that I had in my exam. So, like I said, we do take exams regularly, and not just me, all of our trainers take exams whenever there are any changes, and then based on those changes we make some experiments, and then we do some experiments, and then we make strategies based on those experiments and the results. Now this summary is actually very similar to the summary that I have written in my exam. So what we do is, even for the essay, like I said, as soon as we finish our exams, we come out and we try to recollect everything that we did. We first make a note of each and everything, and then we do something else so that we don't forget. Okay, so because this summary is easy and this has come in a lot of my exams, so I'm pretty confident that it is somewhat what I have written. So, summarize spoken text is the first question of your listening module. You listen to an audio, you take notes, and then you form a summary. If you are going for PT academic, in summarize spoken text, the word limit is 50 to 70 words. In PT core, the word limit is 20 to 30 words, and you have to make sure that you write good notes, you take good amount of notes to write a good summary. Now, in summarized spoken text, note taking plays a very important role. So, if you are not good at note taking, then you have to start practicing and start taking more notes. Now, when you take notes, try to take long sentences, one complete sentence, or at least phrases like 3 to 4, 5 words together continuously. All right, that will make a good summary with lesser grammatical errors. Make sure if you're writing, you can either write the complete summary in british in using British spellings, or the complete summary using American. You can't switch between both. You can't use both the spelling types in one answer. Wherever you're typing, it has the same rule. Now, summarized spoken text also gives a lot of marks in writing, so make sure it has good vocab words, it does not have any spelling mistakes, and grammatically it should be perfect. All right, so let's start solving the summary now. Let's head on to alphapte.com, and when we go to practice, summarize spoken text. Now, my question was, mm, 18th century, that was the question that I had. There's a, yeah, 18th century industrialization. This is the audio that I had in my exam. Now, a lot of
Within
people said, how do I know how to write a summary? If you don't have a trainer, if you're not taking any training, you can go to Community Score. Community Score is the score of the students who practice. You can find a high score, like this is a high score 86, and you can check how they have written the summary, why they didn't get the full marks, because the spelling the spelling was not correct. Okay, or here it was a grammatical error. Okay, so you can try this. If you're not sure of writing the summaries on your own, you can go through this. All right, so here I am going to first play the audio so you can take some notes, but I am going to write the summary that I have written while when I had given my exam. But let's take some notes together so I can show you how you take these notes. All right. So let me keep my notepad. This is the notepad I'm taking and my pen ready, and start the audio. Let me restart the question. Okay. Let's wait for the audio to start.
Within most developed countries, we have notions of pragmatism, notions of the fact that we have democracies that have succeeded in tempering the market economy. In the 19th century, 18th century industrial revolution had some very negative effects on people, particularly working classes all over the world. We see data where life expectancy was reduced, hikes were reduced. We can look at medical records and see that actually living standards in much of the large fractions of the population actually went down. But eventually, we passed legislation about working conditions, and eventually we circumscribed some of the worst kinds of behavior. We eventually, in the 20th century, put in regulations that impose better environmental conditions, and so some of the damage was reversed. And we have made the market economy work in ways that the benefits of it are at least far more widely shared than they were 100 years ago.
More 100 years. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but these are the notes that I have taken. Now, within most developed countries, the pragmatic notion, that's what I wrote. Tempering the market economy. 18th century industrial revolution, negative effects on working class all over the world. So I skip the unimportant thing like in, has, have, and then I put them and I make the sentence correct. But if you can type that negative, if I don't know if you can see, I've written it like minus VE, short for life expectancy went down. Instead of writing went down, I put the arrow down. Hikes, medical records that actually living standards in the world in the population went down, but eventually legislation was passed and conditions were improved. 20th century put regulations with better living conditions and reversed the damage. Benefits are widely shared than they were 100 years ago. Okay, so there are so many sentences that I have. If I have to make a summary right here, I would say the audio was about 18th century industrial revolution and the negative effects it had on working class all over the world. That would be my first sentence. And how it tempers the market economy. Okay. The speaker also said that during this, the life expectancy reduced, the hikes were reduced, and medical records show that actually living standards in the world went down. However, legislation was passed and conditions improved. In the 20th century, regulations put better living standards and reversed the damage. Hence, these benefits are widely shared than they were 100 years ago. Okay. How do I make the summary? Because of the notes. The notes that I have help me make a summary. It took how much time? Less than 2 minutes. All I have to do is type. I have more than 6 minutes left. Now, let me type the summary that I have written in my exam. Okay, it is very much similar to what I just made randomly. So, this is the summary. The talk delineates how the 18th century industrial revolution had some very negative effects on the working classes all over the world. This was the first sentence that even I had. The speaker also mentioned that life expectancy was reduced, hikes were reduced, and living standards significantly went down. See, honestly, even if I took these notes right now, I almost have the exact same things because I did this in my exam. So even when I'm doing it, I will do what I did previously. Unconsciously, I will pick the same words and I'll make similar summary. However, in the 20th century, we put in regulations that impose better environmental conditions. Hence, the market economy works in ways that benefits of it are more widely shared. I didn't put 100 years ago because I think the word limit is 69 already. If I more widely shared, I can also add then they were 100 years ago. But if I do that, it will be more than 70 words. So maybe in my exam also I didn't put because it was more than the word limit. So let's submit American. Now it looks easy because of the notes. Trust me, the better notes you take, the easier it will be for you to form your own summarized spoken text. You don't need a fixed structure. What fixed structure did I put? I just started with the talk delineates. I can also put the audio was about the 18th century reveal. The talk with delineates I use how. So I put a more high vocab structure because I was writing it in my exam. So the talk delineates how the 18th century industrial revolution had some very negative effects on the working classes all over the world. Then what else was my structure? The speaker also mentioned that this is the structure. This is generic. This is general. It's not a fixed structure. Rest everything. However, hence everything is content. In the exam, when we try to put more content and content which are like continuous sentences, it gives better score rather than using single words. I'm not going to say that they won't give you any marks, but sometimes you get around 79 or 80 with that, but with complete sentences it's always 90. Whenever I've written summarized spoken text like this, I never got less than 90 in the exam. I'm not saying it's only because of summarized spoken text, but this is how we experiment. We do everything else perfectly well, and then we experiment with one question to see how it affects our score. So, at the moment, this is the best way to do your summarized spoken text, and it has everything to do with your note taking. The better notes you take, the better summary you make. All right. So that is how I wanted to explain this particular question, guys. Usually the audios, this audio was a little difficult because it was just 1 minute long. Sometimes you will have longer audios which are like 1.5 to 2 minutes long, so then you can maybe take more notes. But remember, when you're taking notes, make sure you take chunks, not single words, because then when you are going to form a summary using single words, it is going to be a little tricky to make sure that you are not grammatically incorrect, your sentences are good and they are making sense. All right. So make sure you don't make any spelling mistakes, any grammar mistakes, and use good vocabulary words. Don't use too many hi-fi words, but simple, like good vocabulary words, like instead of but, put however, put hence. Or if you don't have a lot of words, if you still have some word limit, instead of hence you can put in a nutshell. I didn't put hen in a nutshell because I was already having 69 words. So these are different ways of improving your summary and making it more uh, advanced. All right. So that's about today's quick video, guys. If you have any more doubts and queries, do comment and I'll make a very quick video to address these comments, and I'll see you soon in the next video. And if you like our videos, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next time, take care. Bye.